I just thought I'd do you guys a little video to give you more information on this move to Southeast Asia. So I'm going to call this Freedom Friday. And I want to just explain why I have chosen Southeast Asia. If you are new to me and my content, then let me just give you a little background, okay? At one time, I was a very successful paralegal. I worked for a top Fortune 100 law firm in Buckhead, Georgia, making good money. That's that job that your folks always told you to get you a good job so you can retire. Yeah, I had that. But I realized I didn't have the freedom that I wanted, and I sought entrepreneurship as my response and my answer to the freedom that I wanted. I want the money, but what is the money without the freedom, right? So I became a full-time entrepreneur, and then my goal was to be not just an entrepreneur, but to be location independent. I didn't want to have to go into somewhere or always go into different places as a part of what I did to make my money. I wanted to be location independent. I wanted to be able to make my money from anywhere. And so I pretty much achieved that. I built a business that funds my freedom. And it's crazy because when I realized I had that freedom, I didn't originally think to make that freedom global. Right? I just was like, oh, I don't have to stay in Georgia. You know, I can go back to Alabama, or I can go to Florida, or at the time, y'all, I was into tiny houses. I was into it bad too. If my family would tell you, I used to watch the tiny house shows and be designing in my head. So in my mind, okay, I also drove a Nissan Rogue at the time, a crossover, right? Not a full SUV, but the little small one. And in my mind, my life was going to be that I was going to own land in Georgia, Tennessee, Alabama, and Florida. And I was just going to take my little tiny house and hitch it on the back of my Rogue, Nissan Rogue, and just be traveling for wherever I felt like I wanted to be for the weather. I owned the land. It was going to be fine. I also had designs on driving cross country. I love a good road trip. So you can definitely do the like the national parks and stuff like that. Like in my mind, that's what it was going to look like. But when the time came, what I understood was I can go global. Like I can live and work my business from anywhere in the world. And that's what I was able to fund with my business. So if you've been following me on Facebook, then you probably remember the post when I told you guys that I was moving to Belize. Like that post got a lot of traction because everybody was like, what in the hell is going on? What do you mean you moving out of the country to Belize or whatever, right? So that was the first introduction to me living this lifestyle that I live globally, right? Then I moved to Mexico, and I lived in Mexico for 3 years. And so y'all were getting all of the good stuff about me living by the beach because I always look, the water calls me. So I love living by the beach. I'll go live in the city for a little while, but then I got to get back to beach. Beach is just, it speaks to my soul, okay? So got them, even in Belize, I was by the beach. In fact, I think I was like 2 blocks from the beach. But I moved here to Mexico by the beach. The city is Playa del Carmen, Mexico. And, you know, the first 3 years, I was doing all the things. Chichen Itza, you know, going to Tulum, going to Bacalar, which is where the lagoon is. I mean, I was doing the cenotes. So I had stuff to share with y'all, right? Because I was doing new stuff, eating new foods. So y'all know I was doing Instagrammable pictures, all the things. Then we had immigration problems here in Mexico, and I was like, hey, I'm not a tree. I don't have to stay here and deal with immigration problems. I am fortunate that I can go anywhere. Anything that's inconvenient for me or stressful for me, hey, I have options in life. This is the life that I built, right? That's a part of my freedom, is to have options. So I went to Argentina. And so I told you guys on Facebook about Argentina. Y'all helped me pick, a loft apartment before I ended up in my full 1-bedroom apartment. I ended up staying in Argentina about 1.5 years. But and I even shared my activities in Argentina, like the museum that I went to. I went and toured the Delta, which is the river. Like I did a few things in Argentina. What was it? The mate tasting. All kind of stuff. I shared that with you, of course. So y'all, it was like y'all were there with me. But something was missing because Argentina, I was in Buenos Aires, Argentina, and that city, in fact, it's their capital city. They're huge on soccer. So if you ever see me drinking out of a mug, one might say River Plate, one might say Boca Junior. Both of those are the local soccer teams for Buenos Aires. And as you know, the national team has Lionel Messi, M-E-S-S-I. Y'all know I'm Alabama. But Lionel Messi is number 10, and so he is a top soccer player in the world. After David Beckham kind of retired, Lionel Messi came up through the ranks, and he's been number 1 ever since. Anyways, but something was missing. I didn't quite know what was missing. I thought I was missing the beach. So I think during my first Thanksgiving there, I decided to leave and come back to Playa, Mexico, Playa del Carmen, Mexico, to be by the beach for Thanksgiving workcation, right? So I came back to Mexico for 2 weeks. And I realized a few things, y'all. A few things. I realized that I missed the beach. I knew it was the beach, and that's why I came to the beach, but I thought it was just the beach. But I realized I missed the food. There's a diversity of food here in Playa del Carmen, Mexico. There's other international food, good Thai food here, good Italian food here, good French food here, as well as my favorite, good Mexican food, right? But what I realized was in Argentina is the beef capital of the world. And so steaks is one of my favorite things. But baby, those steaks over there in Argentina are so good that when I go other places now, I don't really want your steak because there's no way your steak is better than the ones in Argentina. But all of that meat, and then they only really have starches to go with it. They don't really have a lot of vegetable options, and so I wasn't eating that healthy in Argentina. In fact, I could feel my blood pressure trying to fluctuate, and that was a no-no. But I come back here and I have all of this diversity of food with all this color, food with all of this flavor, and it's not just meat. And so I did miss the food. I missed good cocktails. Over there they have something called what was the name? Fernet, I think is the name of it. It's like a dark liquor and you drink it with Coke. They're not really a cocktail society like that. So I miss great cocktails and a good margarita. So I missed that. Great food, great drinks, great energy. That city, it's a hustle and bustle. I don't really like hustle and bustle. I'm team no hustle. And I definitely don't want to bustle. But what I miss the energy of here, this laid back energy, this, I call it the culture of mañana, right? And that's basically because everything here is so laid back. When they tell you they're going to do something, they might tell you they'll do it tomorrow, mañana, right? But their tomorrow is not tomorrow. So they, people get on black people about being late and they say colored people time. But until you get into the Caribbean and the Mexican culture, you don't know nothing about waiting on stuff. Okay? Because these folks is going to have you waiting. It's going to get done. You just don't know when. And they're going to tell you don't worry about it. I call it the culture of mañana. But I missed the culture of mañana to get out of the hustle and the bustle. Okay? But another thing that I missed that I did not understand until I got here was I missed the sky. Yes, the sky. Because I'm a person that I love a good sunset. I love a good sunrise. I love to look at the stars. I like to see the cloud against the blue of the sky. I love all of those things. I didn't know how much I loved it until I realized I had gone about a year without it. Because what you know is in the city, I had a high-rise condo, and there are a lot of there's not a lot of sky that you can see. Because in the city, there's always light. There are buildings that's blocking it. You might have some trees that's blocking your view or whatever. Because a lot of people, let me tell you something about Argentina. They love some plants, okay? So there are trees on balconies. There are, they build around trees, all the things. But I couldn't see the sky. I couldn't see it at night. I couldn't see it in the morning, not from my condo like I was used to. And I had a balcony, but I go out on the balcony. I'm just going to hear the sounds of the city. I'm going to see city stuff, but the sky was a no-go, okay? And so that's one of the things that I missed. So what I ended up doing was coming back after a year and a half. It took me 2 months after that Thanksgiving to come back to Playa del Carmen, Mexico, which is where I am now. It's one of my favorite places in the world. I really feel like this is where my soul belongs. But I do still want to see the world. So again, why Southeast Asia? Well, let me tell you, I've had two recent events in my life that have happened that have been huge for me. The first one is that in August of this year, not too long ago, I lost my Nana. My grandmother died. That's my matriarch, okay? If you know anything about me, you know I love my grandmother. You never hear me say anything about a mother, but you always hear me talk about a grandmother or my Nana, right? So when I moved from my hometown of Birmingham, Alabama, to Georgia. I visited Birmingham often. It was right down the road. That's why I stayed on the west side of Georgia to be close to Birmingham, Alabama. And every time I went to Birmingham, Alabama, no matter what I went there for, I'm going to end that trip with going to see my Nana before I hop on I-20 and head back to Georgia. So we were that close, right? So I saw her often. And even when I moved from Georgia to be international, what we started to incorporate were our Sunday family calls. So I would talk to my grandmother every Sunday, no matter where I was in the world, okay? So when I moved to Mexico, and it's funny, y'all, because again, if you follow me, y'all remember this this story that my grandmother was very stressed out about me leaving the country. At the time that I first moved to Mexico, it's like she had just got used to me being in Belize. And at the time when I moved to Mexico, Trump was in office talking about they're going to build a wall and they're going to make the Mexicans build it. My grandma was stressed out, y'all. She was stressed out. I had to tell her, Nana, planes fly over walls every day, okay? Trump, I am an American citizen. He cannot stop me from coming home. So, you know, she got to be all right. But yeah, if y'all remember that story where she was scared that Trump was going to build this wall and I wasn't going to be able to come back home as though I was going to be walking from Mexico to the United States. Yeah, that was the joke for a long time. But even living in Mexico, when I would go back to the United States, you know, Georgia is my home base in the United States. And so I would always fly into Georgia, but I would always also go to Alabama and visit my grandmother when I would come into town. So I was still visiting her. But as time went on, I came back to the United States less and less. Don't really like being in the United States. The energy is horrible. Just whatever. Politics aside, the United States is simply not the place for my soul, is what I understand. It's built on a system that was not built for me to thrive. It was built on a system that was not meant for me to have more out of life. And so I don't have to subject myself to that. It's basically what it is for me. And that's no matter what who the president is to be. So it's not a president thing. It's the system itself. All right. But when it became abundantly clear to my cousin, who became my grandmother's caregiver, it became abundantly clear to her that I wasn't really coming home that often. And so she took it upon herself to always start to include me in travels, right? So the year that I hit Argentina, she was like, oh no, you like, that's a 10-hour flight. Like you really are not coming home. So she set up a vacation in Aruba where she, her husband, and my grandmother went, and I met them there. And I stayed a week there with them. I took care of my grandmother to give my cousin and her husband a break. And so we had a good time. Y'all know I was doing content during that trip too. And so y'all know she was over there acting up. I told her, hey, I'm about to have a meeting on Zoom. Do you need anything? Because once this meeting starts, which is going to be about an hour or so, I can't stop and talk to you. Like, do you need anything now? And she's like, oh no, you go ahead. She watching Judge Judy. That's her show, y'all. So if y'all don't know, that was her show, Judge Judy. And so she ended up, then all of a sudden she come, well, I'd have started the meeting. I'm on Zoom, and this lady come out the room in her pajamas, and she's looking at me, and she telling me she needs something to drink. Who you talking to, lady? I told you I can't, the kitchen right there. If you walk to the door, you could walk. What is happening? That's my grandma. So Aruba, we had a great time. I have pictures. Now I have pictures that I cherish about that. But then this year, okay, because that was about, let's say, 3.5 years ago. But this year, my cousin actually brought her to Mexico to me. In fact, I'm in my guest room, and this is the room that I shared with my Nana when she stayed here with me in February of this year. So shout out to my cousin, because you want to talk about freedom? I love my grandmother so much that I would have been the caregiver for her would it not have been for my cousin. So my cousin is a big piece of why I get to sprint around the world and do what I want to do. And I didn't have to worry about my grandmother and her being taken care of and all of that good stuff, right? But anyway, we used to have conversations, my grandmother and I, before she died. And it started years ago. But my grandmother, when she died this year, was in her early 90s. Around about the time that she hit her 80s, I started to realize I was taking for granted that my grandmother would always be here. So we started having these conversations about, what made her most proud of me? Was there anything that she regretted when it came to me? Was there anything she wanted to make sure that I know? Think just these good conversations that when you get to think back on people, you have taken the time to really get to know certain things. You don't have to wonder if you go ahead and ask while they're alive. To me, that's a part of giving them their flowers while they're alive. It's also getting to know them, okay, while they are alive, okay? So we had those conversations. What I'll tell you is now in recent years before she died, I started having conversations with her about what is it like for her to age, okay? What was it like for her to age? Because you see, I act just like her. I act just like my grandmother. When they used to tell me stories about my grandma acting up in public and this and that, and there's nothing I could say because that's probably what I would have said or what I would have done. I act just like my grandmother, okay? We're both Libras, born in the month of October. Yeah, I'm probably her, I would say reincarnated, but I was here at the same time she was here. So when I look at her life and I look at her decisions and I look at things that happen, I just see that as myself in my future. So I had conversations with her about, what was it like for her to go through menopause? What was it like for her to get older? How are things different? And one of the things that hit me was when she explained to me the difference between how active she used to be and how she started to feel this urge of laziness. Okay, how she started to, instead of being active and out, because my grandma was the one that, she was always going everywhere. Like she thought she was grown. Okay, you would be trying to find her and she wasn't at home. Never was at home. Okay, but so she was always on the go. She was always active, always doing something. And then there came a time to where she wasn't doing as many things anymore. And what she explained to me was she kind of stopped doing a lot of stuff. And then when she even thought about doing things, there was like this pull for her not to be as active. Like everything just seemed like too much of a bother. So she stopped doing stuff. And then even when she wanted to do stuff, there was like this urge not to do it. She called it a laziness. She called it a, I don't know. Let's just stick with laziness, right? And so at first I didn't quite get it until I realized that she had a boyfriend. Her boyfriend was around her same age. Yeah, Nana was still kicking it. See, I told y'all she is me in the future. She was still kicking it. She had a boyfriend. Her boyfriend was around her age. And even though my grandmother was sleeping most of the day and not going nowhere and only watching Judge Judy in the house, right? Now, when I say not going anywhere, I mean on her own. She didn't have her own things to do. My cousin, she loves to travel. My cousin is social. So she took my grandmother to parties, like birthday parties. She would take my grandmother. When she traveled, my grandmother went. So it's not that she stayed in the house and that's it. But she didn't have activities of her own like she used to. Like her life changed like that. And that boyfriend of hers who was around the same age, let me tell you how this man still worked a full-time job. Okay, this man still drove. This man still had a social life. Like he was still getting it. Okay, and so there was a stark difference, and that was, of course, a point of contention between the two of them. But if you compare that they're the same age and their activity level is different, I started to understand what she was saying. But it's like she couldn't get herself to come up out of it. Anyway, when she passed in August, what I thought back to the fact that when she was here in February, it was not the same as when we were all in Aruba and she was spry and she went out on the excursions with us and she did this and she did that. But when she was here in February, all she did was sleep. And when she would wake up, she would only wake up to eat and use the bathroom. And even eating was a chore. She just wanted to go back to sleep. And so when she actually died in August, and she's in her early 90s, my goal is to live to 100, right? I always thought my grandmother was going to live to 100. But what it now makes me look at as a catalyst for me being more active in my own life is live to 100, but have what type of lifestyle, right? Have what type of health situation. So it made me think of Newton's law, right? Things in motion stay in motion. Things at rest tend to stay at rest, right? So once she started resting, she kind of stayed at rest. So for me, I'm looking at my lifestyle. I'm not that active either. Now I'm more active than her. I have things to do, and I'm always doing stuff, but I'm not as active as I used to be when I first moved here because I don't do as many social things. And so I'm like, okay, now my introversion takes over. When people invite me to stuff, I don't necessarily want to go. Okay, I like my house. I like being in the house. All of my things are here. My peace is here. Crazy people are not here. But I do go to a few social things. But I started thinking about what would make me be more social and more active. And I decided that's probably a change of environment, right? Yeah, so if the environment that you're in does not support you being more active or whatever you want your goals to be, you need a new environment to kind of jumpstart you doing what you need to do. So that first catalyst and huge event that recently happened was the death of my grandmother. The second catalyst and huge event that brought me to Southeast Asia as a year-long tour was I had my birthday in October. I turned 53. I know I don't look it. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you. I appreciate you. But don't crack, all the good things. Yeah, anyway. But I turned 53. And I just told you I have a goal to live to 100 at least, right? So your girl is halfway there. Now, I am very much blessed, okay? I am 53 years old. I'm not on any pills as a prescription. I don't have horrible high blood pressure. I'm not on any diabetic medication. I'm on nothing but freaking gummy. I'm on multivitamins and Dr. Joffrey's Shield vitamins, his gummies, right? I take his immunity gummies, and now he has a new product coming out. Go to shieldvitamin.com. But he has now ashwagandha and apple cider vinegar gummies and stuff going. I'm about to take those too. But I don't have to take any medications for an illness. I don't have any chronic illnesses. Every time I go and get a checkup, I always get a clean bill of health. Blessed, okay? Really blessed. But what I realized, going back to that, things in motion tend to stay in motion and things at rest stay at rest, I have to change my environment. So it made me look to my travel bucket list, okay? It made me look to my travel bucket list to see what is on this list that would encourage me as an environment to be more active. And I realized that at 53, as I get older, that urge to rest is going to get greater than the urge for activity. So let me go the furthest out first. The furthest out. What is the furthest location on my travel bucket list? Asia. Asia is the furthest out, right? And so I said, okay, let's do Asia, so that I don't have to be, and let's do it to where I'm going to hit all my hot spots. While I'm over there, I'm going to stay over there and hit all my hot spots. And so what I recognize with their visa immigration laws is if I just want to go with my passport and not really be bothered with, doing too many applications for these outlandish visas to stay long periods of time, then I have to be in a country no more than 90 days and be out. And in a country, I might have more than one city I want to visit in a country. And so that might be 30 days in each city. Baby, that's a lot of moving for me. I don't know about you, but that's a lot of moving. I'm the person that, go on vacation and come back and don't unpack my suitcase, right? That's me. So all of that, that's a lot of activity for me. So that's going to be perfect for what I'm trying to do. Also, me being there 30 days, not only is it going to make me pack up and move every 30 days, but within the 30 days, if I want to go see all the landmarks and the attractions that are worth that spot, I got 30 days, right, to get all that stuff in. And keep in mind, I'll still be working, right? So most of the time I work Monday through Thursday. Fridays, I work with clients Monday through Thursday. On Fridays, I work in my own business. So that leaves me kind of the weekend to kind of get my landmarks and my tours and all of that kind of, and my experiences in. So movement, right? I'm going to be in motion and stay in motion. This all starts, right? This year-long tour of Southeast Asia all starts in Q2 of 2025. So this is December. I got 1 quarter left before I start. So that's 3 months to get my stuff ready, right? The first stop is going to be Ho Chi Minh City in Vietnam. So really the first country is Vietnam, but the first stop is Ho Chi Minh City. The second stop is going to be Da Nang. But first stop, Ho Chi Minh City. The flight is booked. Okay, I touched down in Ho Chi Minh City on April the 17th. All right, now I just need somewhere to live. I need somewhere to live while I'm there. Now, when I'm in Mexico, I always have a 2-bedroom. Like I said, I'm in my guest room right now. But when I tend to go way out like that, like when I was in Argentina, I only had a 1-bedroom because y'all don't be coming to visit Mexico for real. And I got a 2-bedroom for y'all, right? But when I go way out, I know y'all not taking 10+ hour flights, let alone 20+ hour flights. So all I need is a nice little studio apartment because I just need enough room to be relaxed and safe. And, you know, most of the time I need to be outside if I'm not working or resting. All right. So studio apartment. I have 3 choices. I've done my research and I've whittled it down to 3 choices. So if you check out you can check out my Facebook page, the reels, the shorts, the feed of my Facebook. It's in all of these different places. Go and find the video that's showing you the 3 options of the studio apartments. And I really want to know, which one would you choose? Look at the 3. I did a little video for you so you can see all the different rooms and each one of the choices, you know, so see some of the amenities. And let me know which one you would pick if you were going to go and be there for about a month. Okay. Which one of those studio apartments would you stay in, knowing that you will have to work there also on your laptop, right? Knowing that you'll be, you know, leaving and going and taking tours and all of the things. You want to eat, you want delivery. Well, I'm going too far with that. But anyway, go look at the amenities. Go look and see, would you be comfortable for 30 days and which one of the 3 options. I want to know where you would want to stay out of the 3 options. So let me know. Also, I can't wait to keep sharing things with you. Like, this is going to be an ongoing thing. In fact, I'm calling this series Countdown to Asia with Shay. Okay, I'm going to use it as a hashtag. Countdown to Asia with Shay. All right? Because it's going to be an interactive experience. You not only have to live, you're not only going to live vicariously through me, you're going to help me. It's going to be interactive. You're going to help me pick some stuff. You're going to see some of the choices that I have. I'm going to let you know what my final decisions were. I'm going to let you know how that decision panned out and all of these things. And so I can't wait to share this journey with you. I can't wait to go on the journey so that I can share it with you. I'm very excited. I'm not a person that gets excited easily, but this adventure has me excited. I mean, I get excited, but I usually get excited like once I'm there. Because I'm such a planner, when there are a whole bunch of things to do, I don't tend to get excited until all the planning work is done. But I'm even excited to plan this. I'm excited to do this, to increase my activity levels while I'm over here just really seeing the world that I've always read about, seen in movies, seen in the history books, seen on travel channels and all the things, right? So Southeast Asia is going to be from 2025 to 2026. And so I look forward to sharing all of it with you. So come with me on the journey. Start by helping me pick a studio apartment.